Going on? What's going on?
Hi.
Hey, there we go.
Hello.
There's always this delay before we actually get going. But Kuidas Laheb to our Estonian family, our Eurovoxx Estonian family, as well as anyone else who is here. So guys, we've just heard all of the Eesti Laul songs for this year. There was a preview program on the Estonian Broadcasters channel. So we all got to hear snippets of it. And some of us who were poking around the Eurovision sphere earlier in the day actually got to hear the full-length version of these songs. Some of them were taken down, so I think that if it hasn't already happened, soon the music video should be on the Eesti Laul YouTube channel so that you guys can check them out for yourselves. But for those of you who are watching, let us know what you think. And first of all, let's say hello to everyone in the room. Hello, Clara. Hello, Polly. Hello, Lydia. How is everyone today?
Hi, Azul.
Hi, Stika.
Oh, that's amazing! You've really studied it.
Yeah, by the end of I don't know, Eurovision season, I definitely won't be fluent, but I'll be able to at least say maybe 2 more words. I know Aita as well.
Nice.
I don't know what the response to that is though.
Aita, palun.
Palun. Okay. Let's say hello to people in the live chat. We've got Sarah Halloran. Nice to see you again. Eurovision Wood projects. Does anybody know if the songs have been published on YouTube yet?
Some of them have, and some of them haven't, and some of them are premiering at like specific times.
Okay. So keep paying attention because I'm sure they'll be there soon if they haven't been posted. Jake Mason, he's saying, honestly, Andre Zevekin and Pluto have a top 5 potential. Interesting. And he also says Jüri Pootsmann, right? That's okay. Not Pootsmann, Pootsmann. Hello to Thomas Corbett. Nice to see you. Hello to ESC Manga. So then why don't we start there with, oh, hold on. We also got to say hello to Olympic Song Contest. Nice to see you again. Yeah, let's start with Andre, since he was the one that was suggested first. Polly, because you spoke to Andre last year, and the song is, of course, with Pluto, the rapper. So tell me, now that we've heard Wingman, what do you think about it?
I think definitely he does have top 5 potential, because last year, obviously, he wasn't directly involved in Udo's actual song in terms of being a singer. But this year, we're really starting to see him sort of come through in the Estonian music scene. We know he's a YouTuber in Estonia and he has over 150,000 subscribers. So he's already mega popular. And I think this song is only going to boost his popularity. And it's a great song. It's catchy and it fit right into the Estonian hip hop scene.
Lydia, your thoughts?
I actually very love this song. It's my tied first place. I am really excited to see a rap song, especially in Estonian. I love that, and I think the song is the most modern song out of the whole selection, and I'm really hoping it's going to do well.
Yeah, you're right to mention that it's a modern one. I'll go to you next, Clara. Tell me about it. What do you think?
Oh, it's young, it's fresh, it's very comfortable to the ear. I don't really listen to this genre, but was surprised to feel that it was gliding very comfortably, and I think it's going to get a lot of Estonian votes. I'm getting a little bit of like Nicolas Joseph 2-point Estonian. In a way, and but I am curious if I know this isn't going to work fantastic on an Estonian level. I'm just wondering how would this work on a Eurovision level.
And it's always a big question when it comes to that style of music, because it definitely, in addition to it being kind of a hip hop song, it's got the trap elements in there as well. And we haven't really seen that executed fully. We've seen songs that borrow elements from those genres. So it is a big question. But I think that Nicolas Joseph is definitely a connection to make, especially because they're both kind of baby-faced guys. Just trying to score, apparently. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Olympic has not heard the songs yet, so as we said, they should be coming out soon. Nevi has an account. Good for you, Nevi. I think it's a mixed bag this year. For Eesti Laul, it's weak, but as a general national final, it's pretty good. Cool observation. We got Latvian. What's going on?
Hi, Avis.
Clouds, nice to see you again as well. And Sarah has
So many Latvians.
Yes, great to see people from the Baltics, because you guys kind of understand this better than we do, at least. And maybe you guys can give us some insight. Who else do we got? We've got, oh yeah, Sarah Halloran has something to say. You can sing as a supergroup, of course.
Always.
The Deuce Point, the production quality of Eesti Laul is like Sweden, but the song quality is like Moldova or Belarus level. Estonia must try harder. What do you think, Claire?
To be fair, there are a few songs, there are many songs that are fillers, and my impression is that they sound the same. But if you take those apart, there are very strong contenders.
Yeah.
You just need to pick, you need to pick the right songs. Like you would hear maybe 3 in a row that don't stand out of the 24, and then the next one is like, wow, this is very different from the rest. And then you will come through like 3 or 4 that have similar elements, and you are thinking maybe this will work, maybe this is all very radio friendly. But as we are talking about that there are many Latvians, and it's good here in the chat, and that it's good that the Baltic people are here. This is more, it's like the reason why Latvia flops for the Latvian audience. In these cases, they don't do it for a Eurovision audience or a general European audience. They do songs, Latvia does songs for Latvians, and everyone knows that. So these songs are, of these filler songs, is Estonian doing songs for Estonians.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's important to remember kind of across the board of all the selections, because like, yes, many of them are meant to choose a representative to go to Eurovision and represent the country. But at the end of the day, there can only be one of them from each selection. And ultimately, the shows are produced for the people of the country. So sometimes it's, people are taking part in these contests not really with that intention of going to Eurovision further. They just want people to see and hear their music. And to have that opportunity is a great thing. Lydia, you also had something that you wanted to say on that.
Yeah, I wanted to say that basically every single national final will have the songs that you don't like, but it doesn't mean that the national final is a low quality. I'd say that this selection of songs is pretty good, even if there are a couple of filler songs, but there are also some really standout songs that you won't see in any other national final, like Red Lobby Startu. Can you see it anywhere else? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's always important that we have those songs that remind us that joke entries are still a thing. Let's see what else you guys are saying. So Euro Towley is an Alabama Watchdog fan. I know that there are lots of people who are always looking forward to those rock entries. And Jake Mason is asking, what's the hype around Gramophone? Who's a fan of the song by Gramophone?
I like it.
It's a good song. It's a good song.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear Polly's opinion, because I know she has something interesting to say.
Yeah,
definitely.
Go for it.
They've got such 80s vibes, and I'm a big fan of 80s music, and I love that kind of like vibe that they've got, and it just makes you want to dance. And her voice is absolutely fantastic as well. It suits that genre so well.
Yeah, it's that was a band that I was really looking forward to hearing from when they announced the artists and we were kind of looking into their history. It was one of the ones that caught my eye because it felt very new for Eesti Laul. I mean, I've only been watching for the last few years, so maybe there's been other entries that have come and done something similar. But for me, it seems quite different from what we expect. And I think that in general, Eesti Laul is like that, where you can have all this wide variety of genres, and maybe they're not the typical Eurovision genres, but at least they're offering something that's different, and they're able to stand out as a country.
I'm going to touch on what Polly said about the 80s vibe, because this is something I see also many of the Eesti Laul songs this year have in common. There's a big 80s vibe sweeping the nation. And out of all of the songs from Eesti Laul that have this 80s vibe going on, I think Gramophone has the best chances, or like does the 80s better than the rest of 80s songs or 80 influenced songs.
Mhm.
I
Well,
think this song is one of those songs that will either be really great on stage or will absolutely tank. And I'm really hoping that it's going to be amazing because I like it and I would love to see it represent Estonia because it has the Estonian vibe to it, even though it doesn't have Estonian lyrics, if it makes sense.
I have to say also that I quite like the video with, I guess it's the band themselves who are tied up and watching themselves. I'll be looking forward to seeing the full version of that video. Sarah wants to see Coit, Uku, and Yuri in a boy band, all of the previously selected Eurovision men. Jake Mason is saying he's disappointed that Andre is 10th on my Eurovision scoreboard and he's your number 1. Is he a favorite in Estonia? Well, you kind of touched on that already, Polly.
What was that? Sorry.
About Andre, about his fame.
Yeah, he is very popular in Estonia, and he very good at producing videos as well. I know he does a lot of that for other people and songwriting as well. And he participates in a lot of songwriting camps.
Mm-hmm. I also know that he had interviewed the artist from last year on his YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure he interviewed everyone. It seemed that way. He might have, maybe there were a few missing, but yeah, he seems to be connected in some way. So you know, certainly that might work in his favor. Spot is saying, I don't actually see a contender here, to be honest. Uku is the only one that is Eurovision ready and has a full package. This is the only year Eesti Laul when I struggled to choose my runner-up. So let's go there. Let's talk about Uku because, of course, we know that he is the only one who has a direct spot in the final.
He's the lucky one.
He is the lucky one, of course. I don't know why I didn't see that one. But let's talk about Uku's song because I know that there's been a lot of anticipation and, you know, anything could have happened. So let's start with you, Lydia. What are your impressions of Uku's song for this year?
I like it way better than the last year's attempt. I think it's really good that he's coming back to the sound that he's comfortable with. I'm glad it's not a ballad again because this is the sound of Uku. And as I said before, I really hope that he wins because he deserves to go.
All right, I know that Polly is just dying to talk about Uku, so tell me.
Sorry, I was the first.
Better than What Love Is or not? What do you think?
This is a hard one for me because I absolutely adored What Love Is, and actually being there in the crowd and listening to it live and everyone else around you is completely different to watching the YouTube video or watching a live stream of the show. And it just gave me goosebumps. It was fantastic, but I do love the Lucky One as well. And it does remind me a lot of Pretty Little Liar. He's kind of gone back to that style, which I like. And I think it would be a lot more popular this time round with the Eurovision community because it's a lot more that kind of style, whereas a lot of people have a lot of stigma around ballads. So I think this will be a lot more popular within Eurofans.
Mm-hmm. And Clara, you already touched on the fact that there are a lot of entries that seem to be drawing from the 80s for inspiration, and this is certainly one of them. What are your thoughts on Uku's second, well, not his second try, but his retry after winning?
I actually like this much better than his previous song. I think it has like the chorus is very Eurovision friendly, and I can really see a lot of people learning the song and like giving it all, like pretending they're Uku in like a club, in Euro club or in a Eurovision party. So I really see this with a lot of potential to make this song like the full package to be Eurovision friendly and appealing to a lot of traditional Eurovision fans. Plus, there's great visuals in the whole Uku package. Like the video, probably the staging is going to be something we are going to be very aesthetically pleasing. It's going to be very aesthetically pleasing to watch for everyone. And
by aesthetically pleasing, we mean there's a lot of skin. Anyway, let's say hello to Serdian. Nice to see you again. Karen's is saying that he loves the 80s vibe in music these days. It's a good thing for his taste. What else? Cypherfox is saying Sissi by Heleza is good. And I have to say that was one that really surprised me as well. Originally for the style, but then also the music video. Speaking of skin, I don't know if there's another video that has more skin, at least coming from one person. Any fans of Sissi in the group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
like it.
Okay, great. We all love Sis.
Mhm.
How about this, Polly? Where does it land for you in terms of your top? I know everybody's got their top list, so is it towards the middle, towards the top, towards the bottom? What do you think?
It's more towards the middle. It's a really strong entry, especially since like she starts off in French, which is really unusual. We've seen Italian and Eesti Laul, but I can't think of any other French entries that we've seen in the recent years. So that's really unique. I think she'll do really well, but I'm not sure whether she'll quite make it out the semi-finals.
Yeah, it's a big question. You know, there's only so much that you can get from the music videos and the studio recordings of songs. It's really hard to get a sense of what it's going to look like on stage, because that's when you really have a sense of like what its success can be. So, you know, we're mostly going into it blind with, you know, only knowing that some people have performed before and how it went and all that. This stranger is also saying that he's a huge fan of 80s music, so he's definitely he'll definitely have a lot to enjoy in this selection. But Polly, you mentioned that it starts off in French, and that really struck me as well when I first heard it. You know, definitely wasn't expecting it. Lydia, your thoughts on Sis?
Definitely one of my favorites. I love the mix of Estonian and French. Also love her like kind of like spoken singing voice and style of singing. It just struck me. I want to add it on my Spotify already as soon as possible.
Yeah, me too. It was just like for me. It was a standout in terms of the song alone. So I think that so long as the performance lives up to it, it can be a contender. Clara.
Yeah, I think it has the quirky factor, and that can gather different audiences, not maybe just the typical one, but I think everyone can appreciate a fun, light, quirky song.
Surian is saying that Yuri, Nika, Coit are my other faves, and probably only ones with ESC potential. So let's talk about some of those. Jüri Pootsmann is back. Our thoughts on the song that he's bringing, which is definitely quite different to play. It's in Estonian this time. Let's start with you this time, Lydia. How do you feel about it?
I definitely think that I like it better than play, and I was with a name like Magnus Melancholia, I was expecting it to be a ballad, so I was pleasantly surprised when it was something else. Also, really excited to hear him sing high notes, which was what would you call it, high notes in the chorus? I'm pretty much very intrigued. It has a very nice beat, but what also struck me is that it's only 2 minutes long, which is interesting.
Clara, how did you feel?
For me, it's not my favorite. I think it's not like it's good that it has the drop, and then it breaks to these higher notes that Lydia mentioned. But the other parts are just a little bit monotonous, for my opinion.
Polly?
I agree with Clara. It's not my favourite at all. I do prefer play over this one, definitely. And I think he showcased his voice a lot more in this one as well. But I think in terms of Eurovision potential, I think play was the better song of Yuri's to send.
So then, given that we've addressed that this song is showing off his vocal abilities more than play, perhaps, does anyone think that it could perhaps be saved by a really strong performance? At least, like, maybe not for the win, but for qualification?
Yeah, it's definitely going to qualify. Like, I can see it qualifying, but I'm not sure if it's going to go to Eurovision in the end.
I think it definitely depends on his staging as well, what he decides to do with that and how he decides to take the elements from the music video to the stage.
Karen's is saying he personally prefers play than the song from this year, but he has improved. Latvian is saying that Uku can't forget his candles. Yeah, I think maybe he might want to reach for a different stage prop this time around. But who knows? Maybe the candles are what worked for him.
And he
Patrick,
loves candles, so that
he
would
does
work
love
for him.
candles. Yeah, he'll be swooning all over it.
Andy.
Patrick is saying that he prefers the songs which are in the Estonian language because he thinks that it's one of the most beautiful languages in the world. And yeah, I think it's always great to see that this is a selection that will always have some songs in Estonian. I don't know if they have like a prerequisite for how many songs need to be, but I think that you get like a discount if you on the price you pay to participate if it's in Estonian. Is that right?
Yeah, I think they get about a 50% discount, because I think if you apply with an English song, it's something like 109 euros, and then if you apply with an Estonian song, it's 59. So there is quite a big difference in participation fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you know, it's a great incentive if you're an artist who sings in Estonian, and so and certainly they have quite a few. I don't know exactly how many, but you know, there's lots of representation of that language among other languages.
Yeah, and Estonian has done really well in as a language in Eurovision. We can think of Sandra Nunsalu and songs like that.
Mm-hmm. Has there been a song in Estonian since that one? Because that was 2009, right? With
2012 and 2013, I think. Both were in Estonian, right?
Yeah, Kula.
Yes.
Oh yes, Kula, of course. Oh, yeah, that was a big one. That was top 10, wasn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Bert is not a fan of the song by Redo. I don't really think that they've gone in it to win, you know?
Yeah, that's the mockery song. Every national final, every year, at some point, someone brings a mocking song, or how a troll song. Let's call it a troll song. This is this year's troll song.
Yeah, exactly.
Our Dust in the Turkey.
Also, what I found out about Redel is that these are two guys from another very famous troll song from Eesti Laul, Winnie Pooh. Does anybody remember that from 2013? I don't know if they participated other times, but
yes.
That is, does anybody know what that song is called? I know it's really, really long. Polly, you're our resident Estonian fan.
I can't remember. I think I've just erased it from my memory.
Okay, so after this is over, the first song, before you check out the new songs, the first song that you should look for is Winnie Pooh. Just put Winnie Pooh Eesti Laul 2013 and set your maybe turn down the volume a little bit and prepare to be shocked. Euro Tali is saying that he misses gimmick songs.
Well, there you go.
Oh my god, I was going to attempt to pronounce this name, but it's impossible. Meie kundimees ükskord Sakov läks eile Lätti. Yeah,
and they say it many times really loudly, really quickly. So not exactly the easiest thing to pick up, but it's an entry to remember. But yeah, another person that we haven't talked about yet is Coit, who of course is back for. I know that he's represented Estonia twice, but I don't know if he's attempted on other times too. And I understand that a lot of people are liking his song this time around as well. So, Clara, tell me about your thoughts on Coit's.
I like it. It's what you can expect, a ballad that you can expect from Coit Toome. It's nostalgic. We could have been beautiful. Like, just by that title, you know what's coming. A ballad of, long lost love that I fucked up, I messed up, or you messed up, and now it's too late because I've moved on and we can't be together anymore. But Coit Toome style. So I expect like very intense camera stares.
Well, hopefully they've learned from the last time that might not be the best. Unless they're just, again, if they're trying to up the ante with being a meme, then by all means. If they're gonna make it into a joke, then fine. But based on how the song sounds, I don't know if that's gonna be wise.
But on a serious note, I really love the strings on the chorus, and it has a great. He has a great vocals. Like the high notes he reaches are really great. And yes, I think it's going to make an emotional performance, and we might cry.
Could be, or hopefully we won't laugh this time. Lydia, we were talking about Yuri and how this song this year has his song this year has shown it does a better job at showing his vocal potential, and I think that you'd probably say the same about Coit this time around as well, wouldn't you?
I say this about a lot of people in the national final who has already been an Eesti Laul before, because for some reason they decided to come up with just amazing vocal performances out of nowhere. And when I was first listening to the song today, I literally got goosebumps. It's really powerful. I don't even have much to say. It's one of my favorites too. Might be my top 5.
Mm-hmm.
Like it more than Verona, but I think a lot of people do.
Well, a lot of people like feel like that was one of the biggest robberies in Eurovision history, which I don't personally agree with. I see Polly nodding your head. So tell me how do you find this song when compared to Verona?
I love this song so much. It's definitely my second place. Like his voice is just absolutely incredible. But I think it's really incomparable to Verona because they're both very different songs. And obviously he sang with Laura last time. So we had both of their voices together, which was amazing. And I have no idea how it didn't qualify. But that's another story for another day. But anyway.
Do you really have no idea? Is it that you have no idea? Or is that maybe you might have an idea?
Blame it on the juries.
Stare might have had something to do with it. But
maybe. Anyway, Tauli he was giving us some incredible insight on the Winnie Pooh song, which means a man went to Latvia yesterday or something. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Exactly the kind of thing that you write a song about.
Well, actually, there's a lot of like drunk stories about people going to Latvia and returning on the same day. So I think it's a cultural thing.
It sounds like the setup of a joke. It's like a man went to Latvia yesterday, and then a crazy thing happened, and a punchline.
That's the Baltics for you.
Serdian is speaking my language just a little bit. What else? Maybe Coit can wink during his performance. A wink is fine, as long as it's not like so overdone. Like it's. I think that the song personally, I think that it's got potential to do really well. It feels quite earnest. But yeah, you don't want to lean too heavily into the cheese because, well, I mean, I don't know. When it comes to Estonia, sometimes that works in their favor. But yeah, I think personally, I think that this has a better chance than Verona might have. But yeah, any other songs or artists that jumped out at us that come to mind?
Yes.
Carl Killing for me.
Okay.
Oh, which one was that?
Excuse me?
The first Kiss Me, yes.
Oh yes.
And by the way, I think Carl Killing also wrote Heleza's Six, the French song, or was participated in the process.
So what did you like about that one?
I liked that it was nice, intimate, sort of acoustic and very romantic. I don't know, maybe I'm in this mood.
How about for yourself, Lydia? What were songs that jumped out at you?
My tied winner, Sissi Time. Amazing song. I think it's one of the most polished songs out of the whole national final. She has an amazing voice. For one surprise, judging from was she in 2018 or 2019?
Good question for someone that isn't me.
I looked it up for the last video, but now I don't remember.
I think it was 2018.
I can see her winning the jury vote in the final. This is just one of those songs. The chorus is amazing too.
Yeah, and it's one of the songs that has quite a few gospel elements with it as well, which we've seen do well in other countries. And even like last year, Beautiful Lie was not necessarily a gospel song, but it had in the background, the backup singers had kind of like a gospel sound to it. So that worked quite well. Yeah, Time was one that I really enjoyed as well. And that will be one to watch to see how it looks on stage. Andy has reminded us about Tanya, who I believe was the representative for Estonia in 2014.
Yes.
This time around is quite different. So tell me, Polly, what do you think of Tanya's entry for 2021?
Oh, I love it. She's such a legend, though, isn't she? Like, Amazing is still played in like any Estonian club or bar. I still hear it when I'm in Tallinn, in shops. Like, they absolutely love that song. And I think it's very hard to top that. And I don't think Best Night Ever has. But still, it's kind of at that level. Like, she's still got an absolute banger. And it's still something that's going to do well. Even if it doesn't do well at Eesti Laul, it's still going to do well within Estonia.
Clara, is that a song that you hear often?
I've heard it in a supermarket, yes, definitely. I haven't heard it in a club, maybe because it's not the music to the club cycle, but I definitely have heard it in Euroclub and seen a lot of people dance and like belt it out, and we love it. So yeah, it definitely still has an audience. And I like her song, this year's song. I think like some parts of the beginning of the verses reminds me to like a young Madonna kind of sound, and I think this can really appeal to a wider Eurovision audience, and the Eurovision audience can get behind this.
Polly, I've got a little challenge for you. We've got a comment which appears to be in Estonian. How much of that can you read?
I can't actually see it at the moment. I'm on my phone.
Oh, really?
And
I am from ma olen sakslane ja õpin eesti keelt. I am from Germany and I study Estonian. Sellepärast, et minu vanema oli eestlane. Something about Russia and Estonia.
Okay. Well, good for you. Like, that's already
Like, yeah.
doing better than I did. Nonetheless, anyone that we missed, I mean, obviously there's so many more artists that have participated, but any other ones that we want to make mention of? I've got one if nobody has one that comes to mind yet.
Ooh,
no?
Go ahead, because I think I know who you're going to say.
For me, it's Hans. Hans Nina?
Hans Solo.
Han Solo, yeah. But yeah, I mean, also in that program, he stood out for one telling his story in English, and it's quite interesting because basically I think he said that his girlfriend lives in Estonia, and before the pandemic he went over to visit her, and then the lockdowns were imposed, so now he's stuck there, and basically he's trying to find a way to become known as an artist in Estonia because he's there for the time being, and somebody recommended to him to participate in Eesti Laul, and he got chosen. So that's fantastic, and I personally think that his song is really cool. I really like the richness in his voice. Anyone else? Anyone else have?
No, sorry, I just read a comment that I messed the word in Estonian. I said Venema is Russia, but it's Venema, and that's grandmother.
Oh.
So something about his grandmother being Estonian, I guess, instead of Russian and Estonia.
Patrick, you've put a lot of faith in us because none of us are actually native speakers of Estonian. But thank you for sharing.
If you look at the words, they look very similar.
They do. That would very easily be one that I would mix up.
Yeah, there's another song if you want to talk about it.
Yeah, go for it.
Andy in the comments mentioned Duet from Viral, the country-ish song.
Oh yes.
It's one of the 2 rock songs this year, and I'd say I wasn't expecting exactly this kind of song from them from what I was listening to their previous songs. But I knew it would like incorporate some kind of country, but I didn't know it would be this much country.
Yeah, well, last time we mentioned that one thing that makes Eesti Laul stand out is the fact that they tend to send a lot of music that feels unplugged or stripped back. So based on what I saw like last year, it wasn't a huge surprise, but I suppose based on how some of those songs did, I have to wonder if maybe this year would be the same thing. I don't know, Clara, do you have any insight into that?
Sorry, can you repeat the last things you said?
I was just saying, based on how the country songs did last year, do you guys feel like this year could be a duplicate of that, or and Polly was saying something?
Especially like we
Yes, Polly, go ahead.
And they didn't actually make it out the semi-finals, which I was really surprised about because they had such a strong song and their performance was absolutely fantastic. So I'm not sure how the country songs this year, if that's going to mimic that result or not. It's a very, I don't know if country really has a wide audience in Estonia, whereas we know in the Netherlands it has a very wide audience and is very popular. So it's just a matter of personal taste in each country.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the track is really well produced. It's like all of the sounds, the level of the sounds of the instruments are really well done. It's really, the musical track is very well built together. It's very elegant. I just think it's the wrong audience.
Possibly, and you know, we've talked about some of the songs that are considered like the contenders, and I suppose that when it comes to the live shows, we'll get a better sense of if this can be considered in that pool. But nonetheless, we all really appreciate the diversity of the selection, so that's always a great thing.
Yes. Just a second. No, so, Mr. 17, Estonia is not similar to Russian at all. What I was saying is that I confused both Estonian words for Russian and for grandmother, both in Estonian words similar.
Yes.
That out of the way, not to offend any national feelings.
Of course. And on the topic of, you know, diverse genres, I know that one that some people have been talking about is Alabama Watchdog. Which is definitely on the I would say it's a more straight up like rock and roll kind of song. I personally didn't get to hear the whole thing. I only saw the clip in the program that we just saw. But any thoughts on Alabama Watchdog?
Yes,
I love it.
Yeah.
When I first listened to it, I absolutely loved it. I was like all over it because this is like exactly the kind of music that and I was convinced that it was going to be my winner. But then I found out about how problematic the lyrics are, and I just don't feel comfortable supporting them.
This seems to be something that has worked its way into the discussion, which it's. I mean, again, I haven't heard the whole thing. I've seen the printed version of the lyrics, and I think that perhaps there's something to be discussed there. What is, I don't know, Polly, what's your sense of the lyrics? Because it is also important to remember that it could be a satirical take. Because as I understand it, the problem is the way that it talks about lockdowns could be considered like, you know, what's going on right now with the coronavirus lockdowns. And also there's something about taking hormones, which some people have considered transphobic. So I don't know, what's your interpretation of that?
I think obviously everyone's views on it is absolutely valid, but I think in some ways it's been misinterpreted. So I think obviously they were saying obviously about the hormones and stuff, but that could quite easily be obviously because we've all been shut in our homes because of lockdown. That could quite easily be sort of antidepressants and those kind of hormones that we take to sort of cope with the lockdown. So it could be something like that. But obviously the only people that really know is Alabama Watchdog. So hopefully they'll release a statement on it with a little bit more clarity. But it could also be a language barrier, and they've just misinterpreted what they wanted to say.
Yeah, and I suppose that so long as they're able to communicate what they're actually going for, that's really what counts in the end, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I think we'll wrap it up there then, because you know we've talked about a lot.
No. We need to talk about Edgar Newland.
Oh yes. Yeah. Okay, so tell us.
We cannot leave this without. Oh my God, I really like this song. I actually like it a little bit better than Georgia on my mind. Maybe because the last year's chorus is so repetitive, and this song is actually really played here in Estonia everywhere, so I'm very used to it, and it's very refreshing to hear new music from Edgar Newland in this to this level. And I think it's a very lovely, clean, endearing song. It gives me Coldplay, George Ezra vibes, like everyone always comments about him. I think Polly, you also think the same, that he sounds like that. And I think he can do really well.
Well, last year he was one that I really liked, and I remember that when it came to the live show, it was quite a surprise because he really stole the show with his stage presence and the way that he stood up on the piano. So he's definitely got that kind of performer je ne sais quoi. Is anyone else looking forward to Eggert's song from this year?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I really loved Georgia on My Mind. That was such a cool song, and his performance, like, I had a mini heart attack when he got up onto the piano because I was like, oh my god, if he falls right now. But he was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I really appreciated the kind of sing-song quality that it had, because it had everybody singing in the audience. And I think the one thing that I worry about this year is that it doesn't seem to have that same element, but you know, it is a completely different song, so perhaps it won't need it to begin with. Oh, and there's another one that we should talk about too.
Oh, yes.
Lena has returned. Sorry, again, there's a bit of a delay when I try and pull up comments. So yeah, he was in ESC 1996 with a duet, and this time I believe he's duetting with his son, with yeah. So our
With
thoughts
Robert Lina.
Robert Lina. Yeah. Lydia, how did you feel about Evelina's song?
And this is exactly kind of song I expected from him. So I'm glad he's staying true to his style. And I actually really love the way that his and his son's voices sound together in the chorus. The song actually really surprised me. I didn't think I would like it at all. Even though it's like, it's a bit dated, but it's actually a good kind of dated. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I like it.
And you know, especially if you already kind of have a legacy, I think that it's okay if you're coming to a competition with not the most modern song, because to some degree you want to be playing to people's expectations. And it definitely doesn't look very good on your part if, let's say, that he's not going to go for a style of song like Pluto and Andre, right?
That would be fun, though.
Maybe it would. Who knows, right?
He could play like this, like the chorus, you know, like when they have like these rap trap songs, and then like they have a very melodical chorus. He could do that.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is that I don't really blame him for coming with something that, you know, feels like him, right? Yeah. So now I don't think there's anyone else that we've missed, unless somebody would like to speak now or forever hold their peace.
That's a Taylor Swift song.
Okay, so then we will leave it there. Thank you guys so much for sending in your comments and letting us know what some of your favorites are. We're definitely looking forward to seeing what it's going to look like way down in February. Polly, you have the dates for Eesti Laul, right? Do you remember what they are?
The two semi-finals are at the end of February, I believe. I can't remember the exact dates. And then the final is on the 6th of March. So a little bit later than what it was this year.
Right.
But hopefully we'll be able to be there in person.
And lots of time between then and now, so lots of time to listen to the songs, and maybe they'll their impressions will change on us and on you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to eurovoxx. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We've got lots more stuff coming out about other national selections as well. FIC is, I think, less than 2 weeks away, the selection in Albania. So I hope that you guys join us for that, because we'll have content on that as well. And if there's nothing else, then maybe somebody could say something in Estonian before I click end broadcast. Anyone?
Yes, I'm waiting. Head Ed. That's good night. Polly, you want to take your chances?
I don't want to mess up my pronunciation. It's been like 8 months since I last spoke it in person.
Fair enough. So then I will use my other word that I know, which is aita, and leave